Okay, today we're going to talk about what it takes to put in these seats. I know it's been a minute since the last time I released a full video on kind of installing something here. I've been doing a lot more shorts lately. Bodywork has been quite cumbersome. There's a lot into it, and it takes a lot of time to do this bodywork on this. So I've been spending more time doing that than I have been on videos. But let's talk a little bit about what we got going on here.
Hi, my name is Caleb, and welcome to Finleycraft. In this corner of my channel, we're going to dive into the automotive world. I've owned and worked on many different types of vehicles over the years. So join me as we build, repair, and have some adventures on the road and in nature. I hope to earn your subscription, and please like and leave a comment.
Okay, sitting in the chairs here. Alright, so I need to take the base off.
And because I did that, I made the second one, which I'm recording here, is substantially easier to take apart and get the rails put in. The base has a lot of Velcro on it, so when you go to take it off, you want to be careful that you don't just yank it out super hard, so you don't tear off any of the Velcro or any of the felt that's on the bottom. One of the things that you want to pay attention to is if you get the sliding rails so you can adjust your seat back and forth. You want to make sure they're in parallel. Otherwise, you're going to deal with binding over time, and that's just not very fun. And so I took a lot of time to make sure that they were square and that they were centered in the seat. And then once I got it into the car, that they were that the seat was actually properly in alignment, so it would go forward and back and not sideways. I know, or I believe one of the original one, the seat is actually at a little bit of an angle, and I think some of the other kits they are too, just because of how much space there is in here. But I'm not a huge dude, and so I fit pretty well in the cockpit, and didn't really have a lot of problems with my shoulder rubbing the door or anything like that. So um, there's a little bit of playroom for me, and I don't know if that's just because of this kit or maybe all kits are that way. The only other kit I've ever ridden in is a Hurricane kit, and that I was pretty comfortable in as well as a passenger. So I don't know other brands if they're like that, but this one in particular, there's a lot of room in there.
So I've noticed the base of these chairs isn't completely square here. I mean, obviously they're handmade, so no surprise there. They just don't line up the same way that these ones do. What do we got here? That's right, I do have a little bit of wiggle room on that front to back. The main thing is we want to be squared out so that way.
Only one side has the I don't know what you call them, the little clips that lock the chair in. The other side is just open. So if one side is a quarter inch off to the other, it's not a big deal. But I just really, it was important to me to have that square. So I just thought I'd note that out for others who may be doing this. Another thing to call out is there isn't instructions in how to install the seat in the manual they send along. It's a pretty simple manual, has some critical pieces in there for sure, but it doesn't have everything. I know some of the other manufacturers, their manual is step by step, and it's uh, a book basically. The Shell Valley manual is definitely not that. So there's a little bit of creative license that you can take, which is
I think
kind
I'm
of
gonna
nice.
get a little on
You
that
can
one,
kind
so
of
I'm going to get these
do some of your own
going.
things in there. But there's been a few times where I was confused or things weren't specifically clear. So I just called up Dana, and he typically had pictures and sometimes instructions are on the ready to send over. So that was pretty nice. So I will say because there's carpet or felt, it's basically carpet wrapping the base of the seat there, start with a small drill bit. If you don't, you're just going to grab that carpet and it's just going to absolutely get bound up in that bit. So save yourself some headache, make it easier on yourself. The other thing to note here is that the base, I believe, has fiberglass in it. So that's why you see me putting a glove on, because I didn't want to get my hands all itchy. So I recommend keeping your box of neoprene gloves or what have you around, so that way you don't end up with super itchy hands, because that's pretty annoying.
cut through the vinyl and through a bunch of staples. That's great. All right.
So when I was drilling through this, the back two are really close to the vinyl cover. So you want to be real careful
Right.
that you're drilling slowly, or as Stumpy Nubs typically says, is inch up on it, right? So don't just grab a big old drill bit and shove it on through, because you're more than likely going to damage that seat. So I just took my time on this and was really careful about that. What I did notice here was there was a lot of staples on the back side of that, the very back of that carpet there, and I ended up popping a couple out. So it just took a little bit of adjustment to get that back in.
All right, so okay, so the hardware that came with this, with each seat, is this little baggie here, and the interesting thing is, let's open it up here. There's no washers. I mean, there's these which are the standoffs for the tracks. But there's no washers, and these are actually not lock nuts, which, you know, it probably would be fine, but I'm putting lock nuts on these. But the problem is with these, you can see how short these are. Now, if I go to put that through there, it doesn't even make it all the way through, so I'm not entirely sure what the point of sending these screws is. Yeah, I'm not 100% certain on that one because they're just not long enough. But what I want is, I went and got some screws here. So I got two different sizes. These are like, what is that, 1.25 and 2.25 inches. And the same size, but the same exact type. They had 8.8 screws here. I got 10.9. But anyway, in the back, they're going to be these. And in the front, it's going to be these 2.25. And then I've got a 1-inch spacer there that will bring the front up a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll put that in. I'll put that little standoff there just so we don't break through the seat. I did put a washer in there. And you can see it looks like it barely comes through, but if you push it, it actually gets enough. And then once you put a little pressure on there from the bracket, it'll pull it nice and snug, and it won't be too loose there. So that is what I am doing here. So let's get these out of the way. So basically, out of the original hardware pack, the only thing I'm really using are these, because the bolts that will attach to the brackets, even though they are the same size here, I'm gonna use lock nuts on these as well, because they'll be going through the bottom, through the frame of the car. So let's see here. We need to, this one's gonna go on the inside there. So that means this one goes on the outside. So I need to pull this down a little bit, so I'm going to cinch it down. There's a lot of excess, which I'm going to use the other side. Let me turn it through. now that I've got that, pull the bolt down far enough, I can, well not, because I put it too far on the side. There's a little weird piece of weld on this one that I don't remember seeing on the other one. I think it's actually a little divot to keep it from overshooting or something, but it's in the way right now. Kind of a pain in the ass. So let's do this. Like that. That's not set the right size. Washer, that's part of the problem. Alright, that's good. Alright, let's do this other side here. him up during the process. All right.
One eternity later.
So the finished product, these are the seats that Shell Valley provides. I went ahead and ordered them with sliders. So underneath here, there is a little bar here that you can adjust or flip, and that seat will slide forward and back. I think it's got about maybe, I think right now it's all the way forward. So what is that, about 5 inches of adjustment, because it'll go all the way back here. They weren't too difficult to put in. The main thing I will say is when you're positioning these, one of the things that helped was I already had the sound matting down. And so I was able to kind of position the seat where I wanted it and then pushed it down to make an impression inside that sound matting, because this is, essentially like tar with foil on it, or asphalt with foil. And so you can do that impression. But one of the things you're going to want to pay attention to when you're putting these in is how far over you are from the door and the inside here. And the reason I say that is on that side, when I first put it in, I believe I had it, did I have it closer? I might have had it a little closer, and I had to drill the holes twice because where the bolt went down was right on top of the fuel line, and that actually caused an issue with me being able to tighten the bolt on there. So just take measurements, see where you're at, find out where it sits. But I also recommend kind of put it in the seat or in the car before you put the rails on, and sit in it and find out kind of where you like it. Maybe you want it closer to that door. Maybe you want it a little further. Maybe you want it up against the inside here. Maybe you don't. As you can see, I have a bit of space over here. But it worked out really well. I mean, it's a little closer to that side, but it will give you more room when this door is closed, so that you're not sitting up inside of it. And the seat, the design here is really nice. So the seat isn't rubbing up in here when it is all the way back. So.
Hey, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful for you if you're on your own journey of building one of these. And let me know if there's anything in particular you're interested in seeing. Otherwise, I hope you like and subscribe.